Want to hear 25 remote work experts share their amazing strategies and processes for building successful remote work companies and remote team? We've got speakers from leading companies like Thinkific, Evergreen Profits, Dynamite Circle, and Tribe Theory, and more. Register for your free ticket now at www.remotebusinesssummit.com.
That's right, www.remotebusinesssummit.com. We'll see you there, November 18 to 22.
Woohoo! Welcome to Founders Connect podcast. We help lifestyle entrepreneurs to grow their business online and create a happier marriage.
Did you know that approximately 45% of marriages end up in divorce and 65% of all startups fail due to founder conflicts? Well, we're here to change that.
Each week we bring you an inspiring guest and practical tips to help you with business, relationships, and sustainable living. Now let the fun begin! Hi, I'm Cindy Pham.
And I'm Anthony Chansamuth.
And we're from Founders Connect.
I have with me Jules Schroeder, who is a really, really inspiring person to be talking to right now, especially because we've got her joining us on the Remote Business Summit very shortly. And bit of a bio for Jules. She's ranked by Inc. magazine as number 1 of the top 27 female entrepreneurs changing the world in 2017 and one of the top 40 millennials to follow in 2018. And more to come, I'm sure. Jules is a musician and a visionary on a mission to inspire people to create a life by their own design. And with this vision, Jules created Unconventional Life, which is a Forbes column and a top-ranked podcast for entrepreneurs that features the stories of millennials living from this new paradigm. The Unconventional Life has reached millions of people from over 75 different countries and has become a global community of like-minded entrepreneurs, influencers, creatives, and thought leaders, and just truly inspiring people. Welcome to the podcast, Jules.
Thanks so much for having me. So good to be here, everyone.
And you're dialing in from Bali, your second home. So how's it been?
Yes, Canggu, Bali. It is one of the beauties of having a laptop and a virtual team to be able to travel. So it's been treating me well. Hit the CrossFit Wanderlust gym this morning. Got my smoothie flow, workflow. Going to go to the beach after. Not a tough life.
Oh man, I'm so jealous. Yeah, we were in. We just missed each other. We were I was in Canggu like 2 weeks ago, but amazing spot and very cool energy. Definitely. Yeah. That place. So tell us how you fell into this position of being someone who's all about the unconventional life. Like, when did you first get a sense of being maybe a little different or just not aligned with the conventional?
Yeah, great question. So I grew up with a father who was a Wall Street, New York City executive and, talk about the conventional path. He would come home. I remember being like 13, 14 and be like, Dad, I've got all these ideas. And, he ran the household like a boardroom. Literally, instead of seeing, all of the positives, he would see all the holes and where all the gaps were. And so as a young person, it was actually quite frustrating because I just wanted my dad's approval. But I actually learned how to start thinking differently, in the sense that instead of seeing what was right, I started to see where the opportunities of what was missing or what could be improved. And, I knew early on that the traditional route of, go to school, go to university, get a good job, get a better job, buy a house, and then eventually die was not necessarily interesting. And not that there's anything wrong with that. I also knew that I had a lot of different passions and talents, and being a musician, an artist, also a traveler, a big athlete as well. It was challenging for me to fit myself in this box of one of 13 paths, from a traditional conventional career path. And I remember one of my first companies was actually a fly fishing feather business where we would take feathers from fly fishing shops, dye them and wholesale them to salons all over the world. And women were putting them in their hair for these feather hair extensions. And it ended up being a 6-figure company that, I learned I literally could put up a website. And in that day and age, I needed $5 a day on Google. I thought I was high rolling and I was like making sales passively. But I remember my dad, I was about to graduate university and he was like, so you're not going to get a job and you're going to sell feathers from a fly fishing shop. Like, are you serious? And just for those listening, especially visionaries and founders, we get these ideas and our environments don't get them yet, and that's okay. And lo and behold, I remember when his partner at Goldman walked into his office one day with a little thing dangling from her hair. This was like 4 months later, mind you. And it was a feather from one of my, from my business, from one of the salons. And it was just like total full circle. But it wasn't, I think, until, 2015, which I had had several companies and things like that, that I had this near-death experience that really started to catapult me and give me the permission to really utilize all of my gifts and then create a business and a vehicle that could serve that. And so even though I was doing, feathers and we did Amazon book publishing and all these other things, I was still living someone else's version of success, even though I was an entrepreneur. And I think this is something we get in the trap of. We swap a cubicle for a beautiful beach remote apartment, but we're still isolated. Mm-hmm. And even though we've swapped one dream for the other, we can still be not actually receiving the benefits of what we set out to do in the first place. So it actually took me going through a business partner embezzlement in 2014, a year before this near-death experience, and losing all these things that I thought was important, that had me start asking the questions, well, what is success to me? How does it look? And how will I know when I've achieved it? What will be the indicators? Because as we make goals for ourselves and we accomplish things, well, when I make that client, then I'll know. When I do this thing, then I'll know. But by the time we get there, our vision and our version has evolved. And so there has to be the space for this real-time feedback. And so definitely been a bit of a journey, but it's something that, I think at the heart of the unconventional life, it's just asking yourself, what is your version of what success looks like? And are you willing to radically tell the truth to yourself? So, if you have a remote team, for example, what do I need such that you can really create that aligned lifestyle to accomplish it? And maybe that doesn't mean being at your computer for 10 hours a day, even while you're in Canggu, Bali. Maybe it means having, different boundaries and structures. So it's been an evolution.
Yeah, there's so much to unpack in that, because I think I come back to this every 6 months or 12 months where it's there's two paths that we're walking simultaneously, and there may be more. But to me, it's there's the work that we do, the day to day, we, doing all the sales emails and calls and all these things and your to-do list and you pull up your Asana and all the great things. And then there's the other path, which to me is what you kind of alluded to, is the real deep experiences. Some of that aren't really fantastic, but they are in a sense that they really force you to grow and to learn and to evolve. No one wants to deal with embezzlement. No one wants to deal with their parent telling them what you're not going to get a job. These things, and for many people, when they hit those walls, you really have a choice, right? It might not feel like a choice. And you talked about a near-death experience. I had a hospital experience for 2006. I basically ended up in hospital with a brain surgery. And then after working 60-hour weeks at a corporate job, realized what the F's going on in my life, and why have I been doing this, right? And I've got all this money in the bank, but I can't, I have no freedom. There's no time. I hadn't really experienced some of the things that I'm doing now. And there's a level of, we call it, awakening. It's a human journey, isn't it? Just to have to go through this.
You are listening to the Founders Connect podcast, helping lifestyle entrepreneurs to grow their business online and create a happier marriage. Now back to the show.
Okay. Now tell me about you've got an event coming up in Madagascar. So let's talk a little bit about that and what's that all about and who's it for?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as Unconventional Life started, as you mentioned, it began literally from this wakeboarding accident in 2015 to this created podcast of telling stories. And then, maybe about a few months in to this, what was started as a passion project, I got this vision to bring 30 people together from a dream. And I woke up in Bali, were the first words out of my mouth in 2016. And it was one of these moments where I woke up and I was like, that was a special dream. And we don't get these kinds of insights, whether we're in the shower, we're driving to work, whatever it is. And usually we just see them and we ignore them. And for me, it nagged for weeks. I was talking to my then boyfriend. I was like, what do I do? And then eventually it was Jules, you got to host an event with no experience, with no desire to go into live events. It made no logical sense. But in 7 weeks, pulled off the first one, sold it out for 30 people. And it was the first time in my life on that last day of the event, day 5 of this Life and Business Accelerator, that I actually felt the true full-bodied hell yes. I got to bring all of my gifts to the table at the same place, my ukulele, I taught yoga, we masterminded on business, we got into data analytics, we connected, we adventured, like all the things. And I said to everyone, I was like, I don't know if we'll do it again, when, where, how much, but give me a deposit. And 30% of people on the spot started giving me money. And then I was like, all right, now I got to figure out how to take payment. And so flash forward, we've done these extraordinary masterminding events all over the world. We've been ranked by Inc. as one of the top events for entrepreneurs to attend for these 5-day business accelerators. And our next one is coming up the 1st through 5th of December in Madagascar. And, if you really knew me, you would know I'm an epic manifester. And what I mean by that is I'm really good at understanding when something feels right, acting on that impulse, and then enrolling other people into that alignment if it's right for them. And so we manifested this private island off the coast of Madagascar. Normally would be like 25 grand to come for a few days. Literally the whole resort is the island, lemurs, private speedboating, all kinds of things. But it is a collection of people from many countries around the world who say, yeah, I know how to make money. Like you said in your accident in 2006, but now what? If this was my end goal, was to figure this thing out, and then I did, why don't I feel the way that I thought I would when I got here? And how do you address some of those deeper conversations? And so it's a collection of 44 people that are coming together, and really people who feel like the lone wolf of their life. You feel like in your silo world, you're always having to explain yourself, to justify. And so this event, you pop out of that. It's a pattern interrupt, literally in Madagascar on an island. And for 5 days, we're doing all these various workshops. We bring in some of the most top experts in the world. And it's really an accelerator designed for those in transition, designed for those that feel like you've hit a plateau and on the outside, it looks really, really good. But if you tell yourself the truth on the inside, something's got to shift. And it's like you get to come to Unconventional Life, have that conversation, make incredible friends. 70% of people come back event after event. It's all word of mouth, no money in marketing. And so I think that integrity of the energetics of the people is the key to the whole equation. And in my opinion, it makes it a yes for me to keep coming. So that's on our radar next. And then we've got Patagonia coming up at the end of next year for the solar eclipse in 2020 of December. So
that's going to be epic. I mean, both are epic experiences. So this is like a direct connection to what you're going to be talking about on the summit, which is the art of creating transformational experiences around the world and working with a global team and also having global clients. These are all part of where we are, heading into 2020. It's how we operate, and it's becoming more and more the way of being. So let's just put some context behind this. Why do you think it's important for people to understand how to create transformational experiences, or even to be participating in transformational experiences as part of the summit?
Yeah, I would say that more than anything, we've evolved as a group of people. It started out, I remember when I first got started on this internet thing, there was not summits like this. There was not many examples of entrepreneurship. And the goal was, can we have proof of concept? And then we realized, cool, yeah, we can be entrepreneurs. There's 1,000,001 courses, podcasts, resources that can teach how to do that. But then in process, all of this isolation and in some ways disconnection has started to happen, even though we are so connected more than ever, that I find that there's a gap that can't happen virtually. It can only exist in person. And I find the fastest cut is to bring people together, and people are more hungry than ever to actually have connection. And I'm not talking about, cool, nice to meet you, shake your hand, what do you do for a living, how can we help each other out? But like actually seeing and being present with each other. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in, what your offering is. I believe that in where we're going, people want more. People want people. Relationships are currency. And in order to understand and capitalize that in your business, you have to understand what actually moves the needle forward. It isn't just putting people together on a stage, calling it an event, and hoping there will be tickets. I can't tell you how many phone calls I get. Jules, we just thought we would do an event, and like, holy crap, like all this stuff, and I never thought about this, and it's so hard. And you think, oh yeah, I know so many people, I can just put them together. But they can't tell you how many people time and time again don't hit their numbers, don't know how to actually curate the flow of an experience. And then how do you actually make it magnetic? And in a world where there's infinite retreats now, infinite offerings, how do you actually position yourself? And when I really started this in 2016, I was having to explain to people the unconventional life. Yeah. Like I was literally like, and now we're like, obviously, Jules, it's the unconventional life. Don't we get it, right? But like, to understand that there's been a shift. And so I'm going to talk a lot about what the shift has been, what's actually true now for live experiences. And many of those that I know that have been in the industry for a while are stepping back. And it's like you realize when you create an experience that really utilizes your people and your community, that's great, but people are still wanting more. They're wanting collaboration. They're wanting even deeper connection to vision. And so we're going to outline all those things on there. So if you're not doing events, not only are they great revenue generating things when you do them right and actually understand some of these practices, but they also can catapult and 10x really everything else that you've got going on. So
that is huge. All right. So I'm really excited to be diving into that with you, Jules. So for you guys listening, head over to, I'm going to give you two sites. One is you're going to go over to the unconventionallifeshow.com and check out Jules. I think you have the unconventionallife.com as well, don't you?
Yeah, unconventionallifeshow.com is what we use.
That's fine. Okay, awesome. So just head over there. You can check out all the good things and also check out those upcoming events. And then to catch Jules on the summit, just head over to www.remotebusinesssummit.com. Free tickets until November 18 when we go live. And we've got 5 days, 25 speakers, 25 epic ways to learn. And you can also win up to $14,000 worth of really cool prizes to grow your business. So head over and check that out. Okay, cool. Jules, thanks for joining us today, and we will see you on the summit.
Yeah, thanks so much, everyone. See you there.
Thanks for tuning in. And remember to live passionately,
purposefully,
and confidently. Till next time.